Welcome back, folks. Thanks for hanging in with us. So now for the most controversial part of the show, me and Steve are going to go over our power rankings for the start of the 2021-2022 NHL regular season. These power rankings are just for the regular season, which teams we think right now will be first place and 32nd place. So without further ado, let's get into it. Steve, who do you got at 32?
Got the Arizona Coyotes, unfortunately.
I couldn't agree more, man. Bums of the league this year, man. They're fucking garbage.
Yeah. Well,
Arizona at 32.
when I did my power rankings, I made a list here. Excuse me. Fuck, man. I'm choking to death or something. I just put in like a sentence or what came to my mind when I thought about that team. So I wrote down here off the spot when I did my list. I said, always in a rebuild. Management's always being changed. A few young players, but no franchise pieces. So basically what I'm getting at is it seems like the Coyotes are always, it's like the fucking dude running on the treadmill, man. You're just running in one spot, man. You're not going nowhere. The management's always being changed, man. They're always shaking stuff up. There's no like consistent force. They're making moves and pushing the team in a certain direction. And they got some good prospects, but I don't see anybody who's a big enough piece to change the direction of the franchise. And I think that's why they're looking at Bedard and Wright and they're licking their fucking lips now because they're like, we got to be shit because we need these guys to be somewhat successful in the future. So that's why I have them 32 pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. And I couldn't agree more, just like always in one place. And it doesn't look great for the future because they got pieces in there that are in win now mode, like Phil Kessel. But they're also selling off everybody to support them for picks. And I mean, you got to, because John Chayka ruined the future of that team by doing bad practices to scout players. So,
yeah,
I mean, they haven't had 2 first-round picks in the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's tough. They got the one from Vancouver this year. And drafted Dylan Ginther because they traded away OEL and Garland. So I mean, I don't know. And I think Ginther's or Gunther, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
I call him Ginther.
I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player, but I don't see him as being a franchise piece. It's going to turn the organization around. And that's what they need. So they're definitely licking their lips at the thought of getting Wright or Bedard or even Mitch Cover, how the fuck his name. I don't know how to say anybody's name. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I just call him Miro at this point because he's got a long ass Russian name, man, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm too ignorant to learn it.
Who's 32 for you?
Arizona, man. I told you, Arizona is the bottom feeders of the league this year. And, you know, I was having hope for them because a lot of people online were saying, I don't have Arizona last because how could you put anybody behind Buffalo? But then I watched the Columbus game and they dropped an 8-2 L. And it's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
It's Columbus. You can't let them score 8 goals on you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's their goaltending, man. They don't
have it.
Carter Kemper and Antti Ranta.
Carter Hutton's their guy.
Yeah, I mean that's brutal.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Like that was Buffalo's backup goalie, and now he's playing starter in Arizona.
So. Yeah. So you can't really put Buffalo at 32nd this year, can you?
Yeah,
knowing that.
But I can put them at 31. Do you agree?
I don't.
Okay, shit. I got Buffalo at 31. I think they're gonna take a step in the right direction, but still, they don't have Eichel. They don't have that star center. So I don't think they'll go very far. And their goaltending too, right? Buffalo's goaltending is horrible. Who's your 31?
San Jose.
San Jose, great pick. I got them a bit higher on my list, but they're definitely sellers this year.
I with my notes for San Jose, I wrote down they're denying the rebuild. It's time to acknowledge it and fix this team from the ground up. Take notes from Ottawa or Anaheim. Do it the right way.
Yep. All those Western teams, Anaheim, San Jose, and Los Angeles should all be in rebuild mode, but San Jose is the only one that's kind of holding on.
They're just grabbing onto it, but they got one pinky left. That's all they got left. They're just grabbing onto the bar, like. But I mean, they're not going to win with the team in this state. They got a lot of big contracts. They're not getting a lot of high draft picks. They got William Eklund and Ozzy Wasbad last few years. good players, but they just need to tear it down and start. I think because I don't think they're going to get to the cup with the group they got. So that's why I have them at 31st. I don't think they're going to compete at all, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one of the main pieces like Carlson or Couture get injured again because that seems to happen with them.
Yeah, it seems they got a good team on paper, which is burnt. They got like two great defensemen there, two great offensive defensemen, but just no defensive defense. Maybe Vlasic, and then Couture and Hurdle. That's a above average 1-2 punch down the middle. They should be good on paper.
It just doesn't work.
They just don't click on. They just don't click.
I think that might be coaching too. I don't know if they got amazing coach there. No, I don't.
I think it's that
coach, but I don't know.
I think it's management too because they've been really holding on to this. We're still a playoff team mentality, and they haven't been a great team for the last like 3 years.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. Take notes, like I said, from Ottawa and Anaheim. They realized.
And that was a great point you made. Yeah.
And look where they're headed now, man. Drysdale, Zegras, McTavish, fucking Jones, Comtois, and then you got Ottawa. They got Sanderson, Stutzel, Kachuk, Shabbat,
Norris,
Batherson, Pinto, Norris.
Ottawa's going to be dangerous, man, in a couple of years.
Yeah, so take notes.
They're going to be scary. All right. Yep. Buffalo for me and San Jose for you. Who do you have at 30? And don't say Detroit.
Sabres.
Okay. Yeah. I forgot they were still on the board. If you had Buffalo above Detroit, I would have left right now. I would have quit. Okay.
I wrote down here. I think they need to clean up the Eichel situation. Some really good young pieces. Again, this rebuild has been taken over by new management, and it unfortunately needs another 2 or so years before we can give it a good review. I think, but I think their structure is good. So I think they got a good coach, and I think they play well and they play the right way. But I just think they need time, and it seems like Buffalo's always needing time, but I think they need more time.
Yeah, so I mean, if Buffalo can't come out of the last like 7 or 8 years where they really had it rough, like since like 2011 or 2012 was maybe the last year they're even remotely good. If they can't bounce back like in the next, 2 years, because that would be 10 years then, or even less, like next year, then that's really not looking good. And they might have to start a new rebuild. And they might just have to sell off everything they got and just come up with the players they got. But I think what really killed them was that time they just fired like 25 people in front office at the same time. And that really kills the culture. Thing. It is, yeah.
Such a Buffalo thing to do.
They were like, "Oh, our players aren't playing well. We'll fire everyone in our front office right now."
And then they hired some people back because I accidentally fired them. Did you hear about that?
Did they? No.
Yeah, they hired some people back because they were like, "Fuck, we didn't mean to fire you, so come back."
Holy shit! I wouldn't.
They must have had a group chat.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, imagine just sent out a mass email, just like, who's in this
You're
email
fucking
list?
gone. You're gone.
Oh yeah,
You're gone.
I don't like any of those people. Get rid of them. And then they like woke up from like a 3-day bender and was like, "Did I get so drunk I just fired my entire management? Holy shit!" And then started adding them back.
Yeah, pretty much. So who's at 30 for you?
I got Anaheim here.
Oh yeah.
And, not an off the board pick by any means. I think Anaheim's going to be good, and I think they're going to be fun to watch. But I don't think they got it this year to go anywhere past 30th in the league. They got good pieces like Zegras and Drysdale, but I don't know. You can't rely on those young guns to get it done for you this year.
Not yet, man. They need time.
They got a good team on paper too. They got John Gibson in net. They got Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm. They got
Josh Manson.
Yeah. And they got even pieces like Raquel and Silverberg. They got a lot of good pieces there that can score, but like San Jose, it just doesn't work.
Just doesn't work, man. You just need to get some real skill involved. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got I think these young legs coming up are going to be a good, fun little team, though.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch Anaheim, I think.
Yeah. Who do you got at
their
29?
Power play is really good. I got Nashville.
Really?
29 out of 32.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
I do. I think
that is sick.
They
what's
have
your notes on them?
Yeah. Too many bad contracts, too to stay competitive. A lot like the San Jose situation I wrote down. This team isn't just good enough to be anything better than mediocre.
Yeah, no, they don't have any star power really, except for
They
Roman
don't have.
Josi. They got Saros coming in for his first full year as a starter. They got a lot of contracts like Duchesne and Johansson that just aren't doing what they're supposed to do for that money, man. They're getting paid like superstars to play like third liners. And you
Just
can't have that.
total mediocrity.
Yeah,
And
and they
I
got
don't.
rid of Arvidsson too. What
Yeah,
are they
he's in
really
LA.
thinking, man?
So I don't think
Yeah.
they have enough firepower or enough skill, enough grit. I don't think they have enough of anything to be. I think they're out of the playoffs this year. I think they start to regress. That's my guess.
Yeah,
Anyways,
well, I
who do
got them out of the playoffs too.
you have at 29?
I got my Red Wings, man. I think my Red Wings are coming in at 29th this year. They just don't have it. They got the pieces. They're coming up. Like Lucas Raymond side are going to get a lot of looks this year and really turn into good players, I think. But I don't know. They just don't have scoring. Jakub Vrana's out now for 4 months. He's going to come back. Manta's gone for Vrana. There's just a lot of people. I mean, players here that are good individual players, but they just got to learn how to lose until they learn how to win. I think
Takes a while, man.
In 5 years, they'll be a really good, strong playoff team.
Yeah, maybe even 4.
4 would be ideal, but I got my expectations low right now.
Okay, that's fair.
Trust the Yser plan. Who do you got at 29?
Yes, sir. 28.
We're at 29. Oh yeah, you went first, man. I'm on crack. Sorry, guys.
Don't worry about
Anybody
it.
listening, this is not my best
I'm
showing.
just keeping pace, man. That's all.
Yeah.
I got
Who do you got at 28?
I got the Wings.
Let's go back to back.
Um,
Let's talk more about the Wings. I
Yeah.
love this.
I wrote down some good young pieces, but they need time before they're competitive. So that's why they fall back. With regards to the team now, they play hard, but they don't have enough skill on the current roster to push any other teams out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Pretty much
their
what you
coaching
said.
needs a new change too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you need to have time when you get so many young players, and you can't expect to be good right away.
Yeah, exactly. Takes time.
Well, yeah.
Rome
definitely.
wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, exactly, man. Who do you have at 28?
28, I got San Jose. I got higher expectations for this team than you do. I think they play well. I think Eklund will come in and generate a lot more offense than what they had last year. They're just missing a lot of depth. They don't have any depth. They're paying their top 6 forwards and their top 2 defensemen cash. And then they got no money left to throw it around at the depth for either side. And their goaltending is horrendous. So they have James Reimer and Aiden Hill.
Yeah.
So Aiden Hill's going to be good. He'll get you 25 wins, but still, for how much he's going to be playing, that's if he plays like 60 games. So I don't know.
They're just not built to win now, like I said earlier. They're just mediocre.
Yeah,
pretty
they
much.
are. Like even if they do get in the playoffs, they're getting bounced in the first round. There's not a chance unless like Erik Karlsson comes back to his 2014 season and Burns, I don't know.
San Jose.
San
Jose went to shit when Pavelski left. That's literally when everything started going wrong.
Pretty much, yeah. And then Joe Thornton wasn't long until he was like, I don't want to play at this either.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is Marlowe playing this year?
He hasn't signed yet. He might be one of those guys that signs. I ran the trade deadline to a contender as a depth piece.
You're right.
But
yeah.
I can't see him going back to San Jose because I don't know. I don't think they really want him, to be honest with you. It kind of sucks, but
no, they're going in another direction. That era's done. The Joe Thornton, Brent Burns, and Patty Marlowe.
And they got close. They got close to the cup.
They did, yeah. For a couple of years there, they were a really strong team. They were putting up like 100-point seasons.
It sucks for them. So, anyways, they got to make a transition, get some young players into the lineup. So, that's just the way the game works.
For sure. Not everybody can win. Who's your 27?
I got the Blue Jackets 27.
I got Blue Jackets too. All right. We hit on one.
Yeah.
We hit on one. Let's go.
We hit on 2, actually. We got Arizona last.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I don't count that one. That one's too easy to pick.
Yeah. I wrote down this team done a quick retool. which they seem to do every 3 to 4 years because nobody wants to stay here long term. They have to find a way to produce skill guys from within and keep them. Other than that, they're competitive, but I don't think they're strong enough to make the playoffs in the end.
Yeah,
So,
Columbus is just like, I don't know, a breeding ground. It's kind of like you go there, you play sick, you get your money, and you leave. And like
yeah,
they've done that with like 4 or 5 players now, and they can't hold on to any superstars. And I mean,
unfortunately not.
they bring in all these pieces like Duchesne and Panarin and everyone like that, pay them and then just trade them, or they leave, and then they're bringing in these guys, but at the same time they're friggin' trading away Seth Jones, so they can't.
They just can't. They don't want to stay there, man. I don't know what it is. I'd be fortunate enough if I got drafted or played in the Columbus organization. I can't see myself wanting to leave. It seems like I said, a nice spot, but I think you disagree because Ohio's a shithole, according to you. The shithole of the country.
Yeah, armpit.
You'd be the guy to leave. You'd be the guy to leave and get $9 million for 8 years.
Yeah,
That's who you'd be.
they got to bring in more players like Jack Roslovic. That guy actually wants to be there. He loves playing in Columbus, and he's gonna get the reps this year that he deserves too. I think
He's the first of his kind. Love playing in Columbus.
He's the only player in history that wanted to play in Columbus.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Who do you got at 26?
At the Los Angeles Kings.
Nice pick. I have the Ottawa Senators.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Why would you say LA?
I wrote down the team with the best prospect system, in my opinion.
Me too.
I think
They're
overall
loaded. They're loaded.
they have so many, and I said a mix of young and old players right now. Another couple of years, and I see this team making the playoffs and being competitive again. But I just don't think they're at that point. I think they need a couple of years of, and it sucks because Kopitar is going to get older, Taylor's going to get older. So you got that part of the team there. So it's like a weird half and half situation. So I got them making the playoffs in a couple of years, but at the same time, they might lose those players. So it'll push them further back. So I don't know. I just don't see them being competitive enough right now to be in the playoffs, unfortunately.
Yeah. I love their system too. They got a really great mix of older and younger players, like Dustin Brown and Anze Kopitar, to take these young players and mentor them for a couple of years, and people like Drew Doughty on the back end there. He can bring up the young defensemen. I really like how this team is built, and just like my pick, Ottawa, like Detroit, Ottawa, and Los Angeles, I think are like give them 5 years, and these are going to be strong teams. I think
Definitely, yeah.
So Ottawa Senators pretty much for the same reason you just gave. Or for Detroit anyway, they're just young right now, and give them a few years and they'll get better. But I don't think it's a management problem in Ottawa either. It's just like young players, same as Detroit.
Takes a while.
And they're in a tough division, man. Like, how can you expect these teams to get a lot of wins when you're playing people like Tampa and Boston and Toronto and Florida? Like, holy Christ.
You're just not going to do it, man.
Yeah, you got to
wait for them to get bad.
Yeah. Yep. Good call. Who's at 25?
I got the Ducks.
Oh, high expectations for the Ducks. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering when they were going to come up.
Yeah.
Who do you got? I got Los Angeles, so 2 California teams.
Yeah.
I got big expectations for high expectations for LA this year. I think LA this year, like as bad as they are, or as young as they are, sorry, because they're not bad. They still got guys like Kopitar and Doughty leading the charge. And Cal Peterson. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of numbers he puts up too.
Yeah, as of October 17th, Kopitar is leading the league in points. So
hell yeah, he is. What did he get the other night? He got 3 goals and two assists.
I think he's got 7 points in like 3 games.
Holy shit. That's unreal.
Yeah.
I think Stamkos got a lot of goals too, though, doesn't he? Or a lot of points.
Yeah, I think Stamkos is second actually.
Nice.
Right now. So yeah.
You love to see those vets, eh? Instead of these young players thinking they're everything coming up in the league.
Stamkos will just go snipe a couple on you and make you look foolish.
Yeah. He took a couple of years off with injuries. Now he's going to put up probably 20 goals and then get injured again and say, fuck it. I'll be back in the playoffs.
Back in a couple of years.
Yeah.
For cup run.
All right.
I had Anaheim at 25th. I wrote down underrated rebuild. Not a large abundance of young talent like Ottawa, but I think the talent level is better quality than a team like Ottawa. They don't have as many players, but I think the quality of players they have is better.
I'd agree with you.
I put Anaheim is going in a good direction. I think they'll be in the playoffs in 3 or so years. And I said, plus Mason McTavish is a natural born grinder, an amazing player, and I think he was drafted in the perfect spot for where he went, which was third last year. I think he's going to be
anywhere past
the charge.
anywhere past 5, we'd be talking about him as a steal. So
Oh yeah, I think he's. I've seen some highlights. He looks like he's 25 years old, man. He looks like
he plays like an NHL player. He doesn't play like an 18-year-old at all.
I think he's a captain in the future. I do. He's a captain player more than Zegras. Zegras is a little bit flashier and
I
whatever.
agree. You're gonna get a nice little Kane and Taze kind of duo between those two. Mason is going to be your defensive player that can also dish out points and be your captain, and Zegras is going to be the flashy winger. So I'd agree with you there for sure.
Yep. So
Drysdale is the Keith of the team.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's got all the potential to be a player who lives up to that.
Yep.
Even though Keith is a hard player to live up to, but I think he's got that potential.
It's crazy. But no, he's going to be more flashy. He's going to be, Cale Makar type defenseman instead of a
Walmart Cale Makar. Anyway.
What was I going to say? Anaheim too. The reason I was regretting putting them so low when I was making my list is they got John Gibson. They got probably the best American goalie in the game right now.
Yeah, him and Hellebuck.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So Anaheim could surprise if they get. I think they're not lacking offense this year. I think it's defense. And I was just boasting about their defense, but after their first and a half line, like you don't have a lot of depth there.
I just don't think they're as good as the other teams ahead of them when it comes down to it. I think they get a good look. I think NHL teams are that good these days that it's.
So there's no bad teams in the league except for
Arizona
and Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have at 24?
I got the Dallas Stars.
Dropping that far. Wow. Yeah. I have the Montreal Canadiens. So two players that lost to Tampa, or two teams that lost to Tampa in the Cup Finals.
Similar runs.
I
think they're similar teams in the sense that they were overachieving. And I don't think they can do it again. I think it's just one of those runs. You go to the finals and you're never going to be back there, unfortunately. I wrote down they're in a weird spot. They made the finals a couple years back, but I haven't added too much offensively. Very solid defense score, but I think the offense is lacking a true superstar. I don't see Ben Sagan or Radulov as players that have that superstar quality for over 82 game schedule anymore.
Yeah, they get.
I just don't think they're going to be. I just don't think they're going to be like 80 point scores, 90 point scores anymore.
No,
I just don't see it, man. I mean, Sagan's younger than Ben and Radulov, but I mean, there's not much around him. I mean, Hintz is good. He's coming up. And Robertson's a good young player.
Won the Calder.
Yeah. But I don't know. Something about them. There's a lot of other options, I think, in the league to be better teams than the Dallas Stars right now. Who do you have at 24?
I had the Montreal Canadiens. I think they take a massive step back this year. I don't think they have it. I think Cole Caulfield and Suzuki, build chemistry for the future. I think, they look good on paper, but I don't think they play well. It's always the same at the beginning of the season for Montreal. They always do this. They look like they have a good team, and then they fall flat at the start of the season. So for right now, I have them at 24.
I think that's fair. Unfortunately, the 0-3 start.
Yeah, and they're missing Shea Weber. They're missing Price. Jake Allen's your starting goalie.
I had Jake Allen. I had Jake Allen as one of my overrated players.
Exactly. You gave us the stat breakdown of Jake Allen's game when he's relied on, or even when he's not, even when he's backup role.
And it's 0-3, man. So
he's a proven not a good starter. He wasn't a good starter in St. Louis.
You don't want him starting.
No, exactly. So didn't
Sean it's proven me right currently.
Yeah.
Samuel.
That's where they're currently ranked right now.
No, I said it's proved me right that Jake Allen should be relied upon as starter.
Yeah. No, hopefully
Price.
Primo can make a jump.
Yeah,
Or is that his
he's
name?
got talent. Yeah, that's his
Yeah,
name.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Who do you have at 23?
I've got the Ottawa Senators,
Nice. High expectations for the
23.
Sens. They just got
Yeah.
their Kachuk back too.
Yeah. Who do you have?
I have another Canadian team going back to back. I got the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh yeah. Wow. Well, the reason I chose Ottawa here is because I think they're the hardest working team in the league.
They work their tail off every
I
night.
think they might not have. I wrote down they might not have as much talent as you, but they have the drive, more drive to be successful than you. I think they're a year away from the playoffs. Very good prospects all around. I think they're a year away from the playoffs, man.
Jeez, I wouldn't say that.
In the
I'd put them
Atlantic,
in the
I
same
think
as
they're a wild
Detroit.
card.
I don't. Atlantic's too strong. That's why I said in 5 years for Detroit and Ottawa.
Yeah,
That is a tough division.
I got high expectations, man. These guys are playing tough, man. Like you got Nick Paul, Connor Brown, yeah, guys who play tough and hard to play against. I think if they had a couple more pieces on defense, and
They don't need them, man. They got a load of guys coming up in their system.
I don't know, man. That's just something about this team. Maybe it's because I watch them when they play the Leafs and they want to win against the Leafs more than anybody else, but they work so hard. So
Yeah, they do.
I have high hopes for this team, man. I could see them being higher than Montreal and anybody else in the Atlantic. I see them probably getting fifth in the Atlantic this year, something like that.
Ooh, nice. I don't mind that that little hot take. I just don't see it. I don't think they have the goaltending to do it. I don't think they have the depth to do it.
That's fair.
Their first and second line look like second and third lines in other teams. So Shabbat is a good anchor on the back, and Brady Tkachuk will do Brady Tkachuk things. He'll fight you. He'll score against you. He'll rough you up in the corners.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have to put another case of beer on the Ottawa Senators making playoffs next year. I'm pretty sure we have one case of beer. I'm gonna owe you a lot of beer.
Yeah, I'll start piling it in the background.
Yeah. Now you tell me about Team 23 for you now.
So the Vancouver Canucks, although they did add pieces like re-signing Elias Pettersson and Hughes, bringing in OEL from Arizona, bolstering their depth with players like Garland. I don't know. They don't seem to play great hockey when they're on ice. They're terrible at defense. I was hoping OEL was gonna help that, but I mean he's I don't know, not the offensive player he was in Arizona when he was relied on to be that offensive guy. So I think he's a bit overrated. I think Quinn Hughes is the offensive defenseman there. OEL is going to play a more defensive game or be relied on, and his defensive flaws are going to come through. I don't know. I don't think they have great goaltending. They had Demko and DiPietro.
Demko and
Halak, yeah. I don't know. Their offense, I mean, their goaltending, I don't know, is worse than a lot of teams I have ahead of them too. So
yeah, that's a fair
Hopefully,
pick,
I'd like to see a lot more Canadian teams in the playoffs, but I wouldn't be able to keep my integrity as a professional hockey podcaster if I put them any higher.
Yeah, well, I think that's a fair choice because it could go either way with that team. I have them a bit higher on my list, but I respect your opinion. I see why you said that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they could go either way. This team is so hard to figure out. It was either you got them pegged to make the playoffs, or you got them to lose by a nice bit. So
yeah,
I'd like to see them get into the playoffs, and hopefully in next month's power rankings they'll be higher on this list.
I hope so.
All right, yeah, for sure. Who do you have at 22?
I got the Devils.
You got the Devils. Nice. I like that. I got Nashville.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you think a little bit better with Nashville than me. I had them at 29th.
Yeah. Yeah. New Jersey though, they got a nice team. I think they're going to be half decent this year, or a lot better than they were last year.
Yeah, I wrote down they got a good mix of talent all throughout the lineup. They got lots of players with NHL skill level. And I think they're too inexperienced to make a deep playoff run, but in a couple of years, they could be a dangerous team to play against. And if they catch fire in the playoffs, they could make a push to the conference finals maybe in 2 or 3 years. I could see that being.
Yeah, I could see it too. They're really bolstering their forward core. And
Yeah, they're serious.
drafting Luke Hughes is going to do wonders for that defensive core too when he's ready.
Yeah, they're serious about getting better. They signed Dougie Hamilton, so that tells you how much they want to get in the right path.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me about New Jersey is every year for the past like 2 years we've been doing this. We've been saying New Jersey's going to be sick there. This is their year. Like when they brought in Subban, we were saying it, and then they had like Wayne Train too brought in. They had like a lot of pieces, and they were like, all right, this is New Jersey's year. They're going to take a big jump, and then they fell flat. So
I think it's inevitable that's gonna happen eventually.
yeah,
I don't think this year. I think next year.
yeah, I think it's going to take a couple more years for New Jersey to figure out their defense and their depth. But I mean, they got players like Kukunin and Sharangovich playing first line wing, and I mean, who the fuck ever heard of these guys, right? So if they turn out to be like sneaky good just out of nowhere, that would be huge for him.
Yeah,
Sharangovich did have a really good rookie season. I think he put up like 30 odd points on a bad New Jersey team too.
Yeah, he's skilled. He's got potential. So I think he could be a good top 6 player, honestly.
Yeah, and probably the best 1-2 punch down the middle too. He's sure and Hughes is sick.
That would be deadly. Yeah, definitely. So, and Mercer is playing third line center right now. Actually,
he got a point already. He's point per game.
Yeah, so he's playing on line with Janssen and I don't know who else. So
maybe Zaka. No,
Zaka's no, I don't think so. Line. I'm not sure, man. But anyways, he's gonna. I would like to see him on a line with Jack Hughes on the wing.
I would too. That would be huge for Newfoundland. All of Newfoundland would just, I don't know, celebrate if he was on the same line as Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
Hughes is gonna pop off this year too.
You see that goal he got that underneath third?
Holy fuck! Yes, man. What a superstar move! Just like who wants a stick and just throw it in the crowd after scoring the OT winner.
That was clutch, man. People who call him bust, you're fucking clowns because he's not a bust.
No, far from it, man. I was always saying that too. I thought he should have had a better year last year. He's had a lot of good touches, but
he's done.
Couldn't find the back of the net, right? But this year is Jack Hughes' year. It's his coming out party.
Yeah, let's hear about Nashville.
So I think Nashville's going to turn it around a bit more than people expect. Yes, they lost Pekka Rinne. Yes, they lost Ryan Ellis. But they still got a great defensive core. They still got Roman Josi back there throwing around his hammer. Dante Fabro, I think, is going to have a really good year this year on defense. They still got Ekholm. They just re-signed him. UC Saros, I think a lot of people are sleeping on too. Like, this guy was great last year. He's got a bit bigger of a role now that he's the starter, but I think he can still handle it. Their forwards, I mean, Johansson and Duchesne, this is their year to turn around their careers. Like, if they have another bad year, I think both of them are just going to be, I don't know, lost in the
working
dust of NHL history. Yeah, man. They can't have another year like that.
No, man.
They're going to be serving the Tims in the drive-thru.
Yeah.
Another year like they did.
Yeah, they won't be playing for the Nashville Predators much longer if they keep playing like dog shit. I'll tell you that.
Yes, man. I wouldn't.
Not like anybody on Nashville plays any better than dog shit, but
yeah, it's a bad look for Nashville too, trading away Arvidsson and
and Ellis, man.
But imagine if Nolan Patrick shows his second overall potential this year and absolutely.
It's Cody Glass, off. I think.
Cody Glass came to Vegas. Oh yeah, Nolan Patrick. Oh yeah. Yeah, that three-way trade always burns me out. Yeah. Right.
Cody Glass,
9th overall. He's sick, man.
So. I think they need a management change. David Poile's like 800 years old. He's been there since the start of the organization. Send his ass to the fucking retirement home, man. Get somebody else to run it. Get Pierre Maguire in there.
Yeah, I'd say. I don't mind the way they play. I like their structure. I don't think it's a coaching thing.
No,
I think it's just.
I don't think it's a coaching thing.
Or maybe that's why the players. Maybe it is a coaching thing, and they can't get their players motivated. Like, because Duchesne and Johansson just drag their feet out there. Maybe they just can't get motivated under Boyle. So might be right.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you have at 21?
I got the Flyers.
I got New Jersey Devils. We already talked about New Jersey. Let's hear about the Flyers.
I wrote down Philadelphia has a lot of effective NHL players, but it comes down to them putting it together when the games matter. Lots of skill and huge players. I mean, a lot of the guys on the team are over 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3", and I wrote down they might make the playoffs when this year's said and done, but they have a great ability to choke, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get in there and not win a single game.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
my
They're
thoughts on
another
them.
team like Vancouver. They either get in and or they miss it by a nice bit. They don't just miss it. Like, I don't know. It all comes down, I think, to Carter Hart this year. I think he's got to have a bounce
Yeah,
back year.
yeah,
And trading away Voracek, like him and Giroux had that like really good chemistry. So I don't know the reasoning behind that trade, but
Mhm.
Atkinson looks good right now. But I don't know. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have
He
shook
scored a
things up
goal.
that much.
Yeah, well, I guess I figured they needed to make a decision like that to be able to get back in. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. Their defense looks nice too, though. Getting rid of Shane Gostisbehere, like he had a bad time there the past couple of years, just like all these expectations from his first year. So
Yeah, he had a good start to his career, but kind of faded off pretty quickly.
it's good to bring in Ellis though. Ellis is really gonna solidify that back end.
Ristolainen too.
I mean, that guy, I don't think he's that good of a defenseman. I think he's overrated. He's overrated because he scored the game-winning goal in Finland in World Juniors in
I
like
think he's a
2014.
I think he's a good defenseman, but I don't think he's a amazing defenseman. I don't think
Yeah, I
he's
think he was
something
getting
to
too
go home
many
right home,
minutes
but
in Buffalo.
yeah, I
He
agree.
was, yeah, he was getting relied upon way too much. Like he'll fit in there on the top four maybe, or he's not a six man. He's not a six defenseman. He's a fourth. So
Yeah,
that
number
second
four
line,
guy.
he'll do good on that second line. And yeah,
Yeah,
like you said, they got a huge team. They're massive.
yeah, they're big players. They got Konechny, he's a little bit smaller, but for the most part, they got some big size guys there. So they're hard to play against in playoff situations.
Yeah,
But
for
they
sure.
probably
And
won't
it's
fucking make it.
yeah, and more we're seeing now in the playoffs. You need big players. You need to have a strong team there.
Yeah, definitely.
We already talked about New Jersey. Who do you have at
All right.
20?
I had the Rangers. Who do you have at
Nice.
20?
I have Philadelphia. So we already
Oh, so
me and you are just going like
I'll keep
that and
going.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, why would you say the New York Rangers this low? I was expecting you'd say they were gonna have a good year.
I put them at 20th. I said they got a lot of talent, New York, but they have a bad track record. Fuck my ass. They have a talent, New York, but
Reset. Get it
they
out
have
of
a
you.
bad track record of failing to develop young skill. I put a lot of big words in that one sentence, so
Yeah.
that was tough to get out.
Yeah, you're
For
trying to read
example,
at a eighth grade reading level now. You're only at a 4. You need to calm
yeah, I
down.
mean, I'm struggling. Yeah, I got to
Oh,
write
we
it out a
all
little
are
bit
this
easier.
podcast, man. Don't worry.
um, they got a bad track record of failing to develop young skill, like Kravtsov and Anderson, two
Yeah,
high first round picks. They're basically gone from the organization. Anderson's in LA, and Kravtsov wants out. And their top end skill now was not drafted by the organization. Fox, Panarin, Zibanejad, Strome, all guys brought in through free agency or trade. They need to coach and develop players better, and I don't think they're ready for the playoffs just yet. But then again, Panarin has the ability to drag a team on his back. I think they
that's
need to
right.
develop from within before they make the playoffs.
You look at any single team that's won the cup in the past decade, and they've all done it by
From within,
draft. They've all done
from
it through the
within, man.
draft. They
Yeah,
trade the players, then they develop and grow together. You can't
you
bring in
can't
all
just
these
sign them.
pieces.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Um, it might work in the short term, but you'll never win a cup like it.
They
You
got to
gotta.
go from the minors up, man. You got to have a good, solid foundation there. I don't
They're
think they
starting
have
to.
that
I
yet.
mean, Keandre Miller, I think they drafted him, and but besides that, they do bring in a lot of. It's because they got a lot of money. They got a lot of money just to throw around and just to convince
Mm,
players to sign.
yeah,
To get them there, and then hope they like it and they stick around. But I can't see this team winning a cup, either in the next few
not
years.
yet. Not
No,
yet. They're 5 years out from contending, I think, majorly.
yeah,
4 to 5 years.
and that's
And
the they keep drafting a lot of forwards. I mean, it's not their fault though. At the position they've been getting with the draft lottery, I mean, you're not gonna take reach and get a defenseman, you're going to take the best available player. So I guess I can't blame him. But yeah, it was hard probably losing fucking Buddy Anderson. What's his first name? Jesus. Yeah. For I think they only got a 3rd round pick for him, and he was drafted 18th overall.
Yeah.
And Kravtsov, I don't think he wants out. I think he's gonna find a home on that top 6 eventually.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think he's unhappy there, so we'll see what happens.
I would be too, man. Fucking fighting Ryan Reeves every day in practice.
Yeah.
Reeves looks at him and is like, all right, we're fighting. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'd be scared too. I'm on out. I go play in the minor team. I'm playing Hartford. So fuck this. Who do you have at 19?
I had the fuck, man. My voice is going now. Jesus.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Stroking. Pittsburgh Penguins, man.
At 19. Wow. We differ on that pick.
Who do you have?
I have Calgary Flames.
Yeah, I see that.
Why would you say Pittsburgh this low?
You
shit on them, and then I'll hype them up when I get to them.
I don't know. They don't add much, and they don't go anywhere in the playoffs in the last few years. They don't add much, so they don't, unless they just dig their way out of it from within, which they don't get very many good draft picks. So they're not bringing in many big
They
players.
hardly get a 1st round pick ever.
I think this is a big year for them, and if they fail to advance, maybe they look to move some core pieces. So we'll see what happens. I think when this year's done and over with, I think they're in the playoffs. But I got them at 19 right now because I figured they'd have a slower start than what they're having with Malkin and Crosby out, but they're actually playing pretty well.
They're on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rodriguez is playing good. Teddy Bluger's playing good.
Yeah. So we'll see how it ends up. They'll probably be higher in the next power ranking. So let's hear about your group.
So Calgary Flames, really just a meh team. They're right in the middle. They don't have. I mean, they got a great first line in Gaudreau, Kachuk, and Elias Lindholm. And then even Sean Monahan's all right. But, I mean, their defense now after losing Giordano isn't the best. They've got Rasmus Anderson back there hoping to make a bigger step. Their goaltending isn't the best. Markstrom played a lot better in front of the behind the Vancouver Canucks instead of Calgary. He had a rough season last year. I don't know. Yeah. After you get past their second line, I don't see a lot of great players on this team that I don't know. They're holding on to a lot of players that they just had for a while, and they're afraid to move them. And I think a lot of players want out too. I think Kachuk kind of wants out, and I think Gaudreau wants out too. So I don't feel strong about this team at all. Yeah,
they're in a weird spot, definitely.
Yeah, but you can talk about them when we get to wherever they are on your rankings. Who do you have at 18?
I got Chicago Blackhawks.
Hey, me too. Nice.
Yeah, so we've had 3 lineup. Well, I basically said Stan Bowman's mind seems to believe Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves are still 24 years old. He keeps trading young players that he drafts and signs big name guys to try and keep the team competitive. I think he's done an okay job, but for the most part, Stan Bowman's a fucking clown. So I don't think I think he's daydreaming about them winning the cup again with players this old. I'm sorry, man, Caleb. I'm sorry. Yeah. But I just don't see it, man. It's just not they don't have the drive anymore, I don't think. And the pieces are good, but they're not good enough pretty well, how I see it. What do you think?
It's the same thing as Columbus. They can't make up their mind. As soon as they start thinking, okay, I think it's time to tear it down, they're like, nah, just one more playoff rush, right? Because they traded away Keith, and got back a young defenseman, and then they, I don't know, trade away Panarin, or did he just leave? He got traded. Yeah, and then they're shipping all these pieces out, and then not really getting a lot back for them, and then saying, okay, well, we'll rebuild, and then trade away Boquist this year. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand. They can't make up their mind.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
Did he have it 17?
I've got the new Seattle Kraken at 17.
Me too. I thought you were gonna have them in the playoffs.
We're lining up. I got them in the playoffs, but I don't have them in the playoffs right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess this is only the first week. Yeah,
I,
they
I,
uh they
I,
look better
s-
than I thought they were. Sorry,
yeah,
we're interrupting each other. You talk
no,
and
it's
then I
fine.
talk. What do you got on them?
I said good draft. Not much high in skill, but they have drive to win because they're a first year team and they um we're taking an expansive draft, so I think they'll be competitive. It's a good foundation, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them go on a run, um, and make the playoffs. But I don't see them winning a cup or being contender necessarily. So I think they could be a first round loss. And I also wrote here Morgan Geeky could be a breakout player because he's
Did
looked
you
really
see
good.
that snipe he had
Yeah, I did.
against who'd they play? I can't even remember, but top
Yeah,
cheddar from like the right play face off dot. It was
yeah,
nasty.
yeah. He's got potential that's untapped. I think. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. And what do you? Any other comments on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think honestly, there's nothing too impressive about this team, but anytime you got a expansion draft or an expansion team, you're just thinking like every player on that team's got a chip on his shoulder when he plays his old team, right? So
Yeah.
uh everybody, it's the same thing as Vegas had, that just like, all right, this is my new family kind of thing. So they're gonna be so close.
Hmm.
And they're gonna play really well. And they're gonna
Yeah.
work hard, man. They got something to prove now. They said, "Oh, you let me go to the expansion draft. Well, I'm gonna be sick here." So,
Hmm.
and they drafted good players that are role players. So nobody's really, I don't think, fighting for like a top six. They know their role on that team. Everybody I'd
Yeah.
say is fine with where they're playing.
Yeah.
Um, and they drafted good leadership too in Giordano and some older players like um,
Schwarzenegger.
friggin' Schwartz and Everly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to have him.
for
Middle of the
sure.
pack.
Grubauer is kind of a shaky goalie too because he looks good at times. I mean, he won
Looks
a
bad
cup
at
with
others.
sitting on the bench with Washington Capitals, didn't he?
Yeah,
But
he did.
I don't know. So I guess he knows what it takes to win, and he was on that Colorado team, so he definitely knows what it takes to win. But he's just a shaky goalie for me. Some days he's on, and the other days he looks like he could be playing in the AHL.
That's exactly what he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
It's a good
got at
pick.
16 our first playoff spot?
Right now, I have the Calgary Flames.
All right, sweet. Let's
Like I
hear it.
said, my division predictions, I had Seattle in the playoffs. So I mean, right now, I looked at
This
the
is only
teams
a
when I made that
Yeah, this
list.
is only a power rankings for
For
the
right now,
start of the season.
yeah,
Yeah, this will change by the end of the season for sure.
yeah, and I got the Flames, and I'm not going to talk about them too much because you put up some major points. But I
Yeah,
basically wrote their core is fighting against changes, and if they don't succeed, there's going to be some major pieces moved, and I think they're a difficult team to play against. But I don't see the drive to win night in and night out, and it's middle of the road club. So that's all
yeah,
I'm going to say on that because you talked about them a bit. So I want to hear
for
your
sure.
16th team.
Yeah, and kind of like Nashville too with Calgary. Like they look like they're dragging their feet sometimes.
Sometimes,
So
yeah, they
there's
don't
just
give a
no
fuck on
motivation
us.
there or something.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't know
something
what
about it.
changed in the last couple of years, but I don't know. Calgary was looking great, and then they just fell off.
Yeah.
My number 16 is the St. Louis Blues. I think right now I would put them in a playoff spot. Uh, I don't know, still a good core even without Pietrangelo. They still got, I don't know, for my money, one of the best defensive cores in the league. They got decent goaltending in Binnington. I find him a bit streaky too, so hopefully he has a good year. And their forward group, I think they have a good mix of vets and they have young players coming up that could really impress us this year.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. They've won, and they got some guys who are experienced. So if they do get in the playoffs, they have potential to go on a run, and they got some good young players. They seem to draft okay, so they always have at least one player who's coming up. So that's cool to
Yeah,
see.
yeah, it's awesome. Who do you have at 15?
Well, I put them here before the shitty start. I had the Canadians. I put them here a few days ago. So um, I put in they lost some major pieces. They gave up on their uh, star player in Kakniemi, suppose star player. Um, I think they're going to play hard and squeak in some wins, is what I wrote. Um, But I think much like Calgary, they're middle of the pack, and I think it was just a team being hot at the right time, and I don't see long-term success right now with this lineup.
No, especially with Price and Shea Weber out right now. Like that is a huge loss. Like
Hmm.
it's almost immeasurable. Like that
Yeah,
is the core of this team, I would think. That is your
yeah,
captain and your starting goalie. And what it like, I don't know. You can't just bounce back and just
yeah,
play without those players. So
yeah.
it's a rough one, but yeah.
It
I
is
mean,
what
they
it is.
could still come back though. On paper they look sick. Their forward core is probably will rate where you have them top 15 in the league. They have an above average forward core. I think
Yeah,
they have some
definitely.
really skilled players
Yeah,
and young players too, like Suzuki and Caulfield and Jake Evans in that lineup. Gives them a bit of energy.
I just don't think it's put together well enough to win
Yeah,
consistently.
yeah, and kind of the same thing. They just bring in a lot of players to just trying to fix problems in the short term instead of looking at it in the long
Long
term.
term. Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's 15 for you?
I have the New York Rangers. I think
Oh
right
yeah.
now I'd put them in there. I think they got an excellent team. I think Zibanejad, Panarin, Strome,
Hmm.
and then your young guys. You got Capo Caco. Well, not right now. He's injured. Um, and you also have Lafreniere. You got Kanye Miller. You got Adam Fox on the back end. And I think they have a good tandem in net, too. I think Shesterkin and Gorgiev. I don't think that's a bad tandem whatsoever.
No, I don't think so either.
Young Russian blood back there.
Yeah, they got some good. They got some good pieces, man. I mean, high draft picks. So
Yeah.
you
But
gotta
all the
wait and see how
same,
it
I wouldn't
unfolds.
be surprised. I got him as a middling team because I could see him missing the playoffs easy, too. So, who do you have at 14? Or were you done with?
I'm done with that
All right.
one.
Who do you have at 14?
14, I have Vancouver.
All
I see
right, some
him.
high expectations. Me and you kind of switched these picks. I think where you had Dallas, I had Vancouver, and where you had Vancouver, I have Dallas.
Yeah. So I uh I think this team can be back in the playoffs. I think they have the pieces to be successful, but they need to prove it by playing good hockey for 82 games. And that's
Yep.
we got to wait and see. They got a good core, and I think they got some talented prospects. We just need to see it actually happen.
Yeah, I think they have. They're one of my favorite teams to watch because I love Pedersen and I love Nils Hoglander too. He came in off on the scene last year. He was crazy last year. Bringing in Bud Colson now too is
Yeah,
gonna
he was a decent draft pick for where he was drafted. I think it was second
40th
round.
overall, man.
Yeah,
40th. Yeah.
that's a good pick.
Yeah, I wanted Detroit to get him. But yeah, Vancouver. And I mean, adding OEL and Garland in the offseason, they're going to be a good
Yeah,
team.
yeah,
But I think it's bringing in too much at the same time. Like
yeah. That's a fair
just
assessment.
switching up all the chemistry. But I mean, Hughes and Pedersen are going to be lights out on the power play this year.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
think you're right. What about Dallas? What anything to add with
Uh,
Dallas?
the Dallas Stars this year, I think, is their comeback year. I think last year was,
Yeah,
I think they made it to hear me out now. They made it to the cup final. And then last year was not their fault. They got bit bad by the injury bug, never had Tyler Seguin. And then COVID, I think they lost like 8 games due to COVID that they just couldn't play and or got like changed to another date and kind of threw them off. I think they got a good team here. I think listen to this back end. Essa Lindell, Miro Heiskanen, Klingberg, and what was their fourth?
Suter.
Yeah, and Suter. Like that is a nasty top four defenseman.
It is
I
a good
think
top four.
I think they got depth. I think Jason Robertson's gonna get 50 points this year too.
He's good. He's
He's
fucking good.
great. He's fast. I love watching him.
Me too. Yeah, so I kind of said the same thing where they have a good defensive core. I just don't see it offensively, and I think that's my issue with
I think Rupe. I think that line Rupe, Hintz, Pavelski, and Jason Robertson are gonna come hot on the scene this year.
yeah, I think you're right. I think they're gonna do well.
But I mean, like Vancouver, me and you just have their places switched. They could go either way. They're a middling team in my eyes, Dallas. Like they're not going to be up at the top of this list. I wouldn't say they're always going to be in the middle.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
They're just one of those teams, man. They just sit around the middle for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. Either
Yeah.
they get in the playoffs or they draft at 17th overall.
Yeah. 13th.
Who do you got at 13?
I have the Blues. I
The
think
Blues, all right. Yeah,
we just
for
talked
sure.
about them, so I won't sit here too long. But I think they're a hard hitting team, difficult to play against. They have experience, and I think that alone makes them dangerous. And I just wouldn't be surprised to see them going on a run and have another crack at the cup before O'Reilly collects his pension. So fuck the heart rate monitor's going off.
Yeah. Do you think Vlad Tarasenko stays?
I think he does. Honestly, I think they
I think
figure
he
out a way
does
to
too.
fix it. So
I don't see who he goes to.
no, there's not many teams who want to take on that contract right now. I still think he's a
No,
good player. So we'll see what
for
happens.
sure. Yeah, so do I. I like him as a playoff team for sure.
Yeah.
I have your Minnesota uh friggin' Wild
Oh,
here
let's hear about
at
it.
13. And I know it's a bit low. I think Kirill has a sophomore slump here. I don't think he
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think he gets he'll get 70, but
I had 100 points.
I know what you got. 100 points for Cat. That's I don't know, that's crazy. I think he'll get 70. I mean, he's worth his money the just from the seats that he fills. People come there to Minnesota games to watch Kaprizov. They don't come there to watch Cam Talbot. They sorry. I know. That's your
Wow.
trigger word. I know. But they come
Eyes
there
open
for
wide then.
Kaprizov. And but I don't know. I don't think he can carry this team. They got Fiala. They got good pieces, I guess, but their center core is pretty shit too. I honestly, I'm here ripping them apart. Like I got them in the playoffs. Like they're gonna be a good team. They got good defense.
Tell me
And
something positive. Stop shitting on him.
I got them at 13th, and I'm just ripping them a new one. But
Yeah, like you were
uh,
literally like complimenting like fucking
yeah, I was like,
um
I was like, oh yeah, New York Rangers, they're gonna be sick. Fucking wasn't talking bad about them at all. And here I am, fucking yeah, Minnesota. 13. They're pretty shit, man. Fuck Kaprizov, like he's garbage.
uh,
No, I think they got a good team. They got off to a good start too. They're a fun team to watch, and they're gonna obviously get in the playoffs this year. But yeah, no, they're a good
elite.
team. They're
They're
a good team.
elite.
I don't think I'll have them as high as you got them, but they're definitely a good team.
No, you don't have them at one, I guess. I'm joking.
No.
uh,
Do you want to touch on anything in Minnesota, or do you want to touch on it when we get to your pick?
I think we're gonna wait till I get there.
All right, then in that case, who do you have at 12?
Washington Capitals.
Okay, I have the other W team. I have the Winnipeg Jets.
Ooh, that's a good pick. I said the Capitals want to win again. They play consistently. Their prospect system isn't top level, but they find a way to bring in decent players, and they don't add much either, like Pittsburgh Penguins. So they just had to keep competing while they have a chance, and while the players that are their core are still there. I think they have major skill up front. I think their defense core is what lacks.
Yeah, for
So
sure. They don't have a lot on that back end. There's some guy back there this year, an American player, and I can't pronounce his name. It starts with an F. It's like Ferrare or something. But he's supposed to be pretty good playing on
yeah,
their top
Martin
six.
for whatever the fuck his
Yeah,
name
he's
is.
dude. The guy's got like 3 F's and 8 H's in his name,
Yeah,
dude. It's so hard to pronounce.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be all right. And they got John Carlson, and they got that sick power play too.
Mm-hmm.
They might
Really
have
good
one
power
of the
play.
best power plays. If it wasn't for Edmonton, maybe the best, and
Yeah.
Boston and Toronto, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they still got a lot of good pieces too, like Oshie and I don't know, Oshie Backstrom, Kuznetsov, and then young players too coming up like McMichael and
Hero. Wait, it's not Hero, is it?
no, that
Lapierre.
who got drafted, Lapierre. Yeah, I
Lapierre.
was trying to
Yes.
think of his name too.
Yeah.
So if those two guys come into and chip away at a bit of offense, they got a
Yeah.
real good chance.
Yeah, I think so.
Vanasek and Vitek or Vitek, I don't know. That's a good tandem too. I like those two goalies.
Mm-hmm.
Or is,
Yeah,
what the
it's
hell's that other?
Vitek Vanacek.
Samsonov. I
Samsonov.
saying two of his names as two last names. Vitek Manasek and Samsonov. Yeah.
Yeah, those are some
I don't.
fucked up goalie names. I'll tell you that.
Oh man, it's hard to get there. It's hard to get there after the weekend I
Yeah,
just had.
the
But
guy who's doing it, their jerseys must like be shit baked when he's in the room.
yeah,
the jerseys
I'd say.
Yeah.
No, not that bad. I don't know. I don't mind those two goalies. I think they're
No,
gonna be
they're
good
decent
this year.
goalies. Yeah,
And I
definitely.
think they got a really good forward core too.
Yeah, exactly.
And you never bet against Ovi.
Never. Don't do it.
He's gonna get 60 this year.
60 what goals?
Yeah.
Uh,
You're saying Matthews can get 60?
yeah, Matthews is like 50 years younger.
Yeah, well, Ovi's got 50 years more experience. He knows how to score in this league, buddy.
Yeah, I can see 50. I don't know about 60. It's hard to score
10 more
60.
goals. That's only 10 more shots on net. The kid will get 60.
No, man.
I think Ovi gets 60. I think Matthews gets 59 and a half.
No way. Matthews getting 2 straight rockets. Matthews going for the Hart this year.
He won't get that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Hart, oh, never mind. Next, I got Winnipeg at 12. I like Winnipeg's team. I think they're at their peak now. I think they're going to be a really strong team for the next couple of years. They got rid of Line. Line was only causing problems. Brought in another center for that 1-2 punch with Scheifele and Dubois. Ehlers and Connor are 2 sick scoring wingers, which is good too. See, their goalie is sick with Hellebuck, but they got no defense either. They got no star defenseman. And they're not playing
Morrissey's good, man. He's not a star, but he's really good.
Morrissey, I guess, is underrated a lot of times. He's big and he can move the puck.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Anything else on Winnipeg, or we'll wait till you get to them?
I got him a little bit hard, so I'll talk about him when I get there, I guess.
Sounds good. Who do you have at double ones?
I got the Minnesota Wild, elite.
All right,
elite.
Yeah, elite. Yeah, almost breaking the top 10.
Do you think that's a fair pick? Fair place?
I think anywhere around 10 to 13 is a good place for Minnesota this year. I don't think they break the top 10, but anywhere from 11 to say 15, they'll get in. They'll get in for sure.
Yeah, I wrote down the Wild are seen as underdogs because they don't have any superstars other than Kaprizov. And I think they have a top 5 defense core in the league and probably a top 5 goalie tandem in the league. Nobody talks about that goalie tandem in Minnesota, man.
Kakkonen's sick. Kakkonen's going to take over.
He's good, man.
A couple
and
jobs.
Talbot's good, man. Talbot's solid. Kakkonen's solid. The only concern for me is the offense over 82 game schedule, honestly, consistently. But I mean, Greenway's made good strides offensively, and Kaprizov, 100-point player, obviously.
We'll see.
And
I might have to take another case of beer off you for that.
Yeah. Eric Snick, I mean, he's a great two-way player. He's not necessarily going to put up 80 points a year, but
he's not there he's not there for points. He's there for the two-way.
I think Minnesota needs one more piece to win a cup, and I think that one piece is Jack Eichel. I do. I think if they had Jack Eichel, they could win a cup. They need that star center, man. If they had that star center,
it's Rossi.
Yeah, but we don't want to wait for him, man. We want Jack.
Wait, he'll come in this year. He'll come in January and play his rookie season, and then he'll come in next year and be a stud.
If they traded Rossi for Eichel, I wouldn't be upset. I'm being honest with you.
Really? I like Rossi more.
Eichel, Kaprizov on a line. You're fucking joking. I know.
That would be. I can't imagine trying to stop that line. That would be so fast.
And Zuccarello.
Yeah, true. Zuccarello there too. Nuts.
140 points. Easy. I'm joking.
Yeah. I like Minnesota's team though. I really do. I
defense core, man, is so underrated. So underrated. Really good defensively.
I can't believe they still have good defensive core after taking out their cornerstone and Suter. But they still got Dumba. They still got Spurgeon, Brodin.
Yeah. Lots of guys there are good players, so
for sure. I don't like their forward depth that much. I think they could have.
Yeah, Freddie Gaudreau is a son of piece of added who's actually a really good forward.
I haven't watched too much. Where did he come from? Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, and he's been playing really good. He's in the top 9 now, and I mean, he's producing well. We're only 1 or 2 games in, but he's been playing like a guy who's going to produce well, is what I'm trying to say. So,
best Goudreau in the league.
Yeah, he might be after this year.
First. Don't at me.
Who's 11 for you?
Edmonton Oilers.
That's a good
Edmonton
pick.
Oilers. McDavid gets 140 points, but they just lose too many games. They're not built defensively. They're built all offense.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I think having McDavid and Draisaitl automatically put them in the top 15 teams.
Yeah, 100%. Just those two.
So
their goaltending scares me.
I don't think Keith Holland's, or is that his name? Ken Holland.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done a lot of good things, honestly.
But he wasn't doing great things in Detroit either. I'm kind of happy he moved on.
Yeah, I think they needed a different guy to run it.
He's good for sound bites, though. He throws out some funny shit sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will talk about Edmonton more when we get there. Who do you got at 10?
I got Carolina Hurricanes. I had them outside the playoffs on my prediction, so I don't know what the fuck I'm at. I I look at a team and I say, are they good? Are they good? Maybe, yeah, no, they're good. So I don't know. I put solid core of players. Fucking heartbeat, man. And I'm not in the hospital, I promise. I put they had a great core players and great prospect pool. I think they're close, but the reason I had them falling off my division rankings is because I think they changed it up too much. They brought in, there's too many new faces in the room, and bringing in 2 new goalies who haven't been on the same team before. I think that's a big change for a group. But I got them at 10, so I don't know what the fuck I got them at 10 for. But I just think the offense makes up for the changes, if that makes any sense.
It does. They got crazy offense this year, like probably the best in the league just for depth wise. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
They're just pulling these players out of their ass and just throwing them out there, and they're producing. I mean, then bringing in a player like Kaka. Jesus Christ! I need to start writing names down. Kakaniemi. Like he's a nuts player, but I don't think he's worth the money they gave him. I think that's kind of just like a big fuck you to Montreal. But I think they're gonna be good. I got Pittsburgh at 10.
Yeah.
Or sorry, yeah. Where was your notes on Carolina? I kind of
10.
What?
Carolina, I had Carolina at 10.
No, what's your notes on them?
Oh, geez, I already talked about that, didn't I?
Oh, okay. Yeah. You talked about defense and offense. I thought you were just going off your head then.
No. That's pretty much what I put there.
Yeah, I got Pittsburgh at 10. I think they're definitely still a top 10 team in the league. Crosby's only out for another week, and then as soon as Crosby hits that ice, game over. Look how good they're playing without Crosby and Malkin.
Yeah.
Letang is really doing good this year. I thought Letang was kind of dust from
the past couple some years. Good points.
He is, man, and he's contributing a lot. He's getting like primary assists. I don't know. As soon as Crosby gets back, he's going to drag him into the playoffs. He knows he is, and he's going to put up a lot of points this year. Because I think he's starting to get pissed off. Everybody's saying oh, he's dropping off this year. He'll never have another good year. He's going to fucking come back and smoke this league. So he's going to drag him into the playoffs. And I mean, their goaltending is the same thing as like Edmonton, kind of just like it scares me because they're not proven. Mm-hmm. They wins a cup with a goalie. You got a cup? Get the fuck out of here. Bringing this other goalie. What, you got a cup too? We don't want you. Get the fuck. And they just keep recycling goalies.
Yeah.
Not even recycling, just throwing them in the ocean like plastic bottle. And so I don't know. Their goaltending is improving, or the tandem, but I like the rest of the team.
Pittsburgh Penguins are not good for climate change. They recycle goalies too. Actually,
they don't recycle goalies. If they did recycle. What they should be doing is giving Matt Murray to Ottawa and then taking him back, and that would be good recycle. I would.
They might take Fleury back yet after this year.
Yeah, geez, I hope so. Get Fleury out of Chicago. Let him win another cup.
Start like a change.org petition or something.
Yeah, start a GoFundMe for him. Pay for his flight back to Pittsburgh. Pay for his salary so Chicago can retain it. Did we talk about your 10?
We did.
Carolina. Yeah.
Number 9.
Who is your number 9?
Edmonton.
Edmonton. Yeah. Let's talk about Edmonton.
So,
I'm all fired up now talking about bad goaltending.
I think the goaltending is atrocious in Edmonton.
Yeah.
For playoffs. I think Smith is good, man, but it's just you don't win a cup with a 40-year-old goalie, man. It's just written in stone somewhere. If you went and traveled the world and you looked for the stones that were written in, you'd find one that said you're not going to win the fucking cup with a 40-year-old goalie because you just can't do it. So
I'm pretty sure it was actually the 11th commandment, but that piece of the tablet broke off.
And
so we were left with 10.
Down the river and float off somewhere. Don't sign Mike Smith at 40 years old. I'm surprised Ken Holland never gave him like a 6-year deal. So he's
Do
like
not kill thy neighbor. Do not envy thy neighbor. You cannot win the Stanley Cup with a 40-year-old goalie.
Yeah. Do not sign thy Mike Smith at 40 years old. So I don't think they have enough depth. Basically, what you said is just they get 2 powerhouse forwards, and they got a few good pieces. Like Hyman's a good piece, and Nurse is good, and a couple of young.
I like Hyman on that team as much as I loved Hyman on Toronto. I like him more on Edmonton. I think.
It's a good.
I think he'll complement McDavid so much better than he complimented Matthews because Matthews can kind of hold his own. Matthews is
more aggressive.
Yeah, he puts his weight out there.
Bigger body.
McDavid kind of not needs, but would complement. They'll work well
benefit.
Together.
Yes. Yeah.
So we both have them in the playoffs. Edmonton's a good team. It's just McDavid's really dragging that, and like over 82 game schedule. Like imagine how tired Mike Smith and Koskinen are going to be when they get in playoffs. They're not going to have any jam left at all.
No, that's a problem.
Yeah. Mike Smith did get like 45 saves the other night, though.
He's a good goalie, man, but I just can't see it for the long run, especially on a playoff run. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Who do you have at number 9?
I have the Washington Capitals. We were already talking about them, which how much I love them. I love their goalies. I love their top 2 defensemen, and I love their forward core. They got a deadly top 6 forward core there, and Ovi's going to score 60. Kuznetsov is going to do probably 8 pounds of coke out of the Stanley Cup this year. And he's going to have a good time.
Yeah, sounds like a fun time. I hope we get the invite.
Yeah, have him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Let him do an Instagram takeover, and he can just post on his story.
Oh my god. Just be a bunch of like drugs and shit in there.
Yeah. That'd be sweet. Didn't he accidentally post a picture of him doing blow or something?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Nice. What a legend.
Tough luck. Yeah, legend. Russian legend.
You don't get these kind of things out of Canadian players. It's only out of Russia.
They don't give a fuck, right? So
no,
you don't give
not
a
one.
fuck.
Who do you have at number 8?
I had the Oilers at number 8.
Nice, me too, man. That's 4 picks. Same. That's sick. Why do you like these guys?
They play playoff hockey all year. I think they're effective, but they're kind of boring to watch. So I wouldn't tune into. I don't watch many Oilers games, but I'd like to see them generate a little bit more offense. But I don't think they're going to because what they're doing works. And Trotz is a good coach.
Yeah, I think so too. Best in the league, I think.
Yeah,
he's number 1. I agree with that too, man. I wish they played more offense because I love Matt Barzal, and they don't really give him the chance to be an offensive superstar like he can be.
Yeah,
but I mean, it works. They get some wins, so why would they stop? Really?
Yeah, that's true.
They got good defense too. They got sneaky good defense.
Pollock.
Yeah, Pollock. Second shout out for those two. This podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. And their goaltending. I love Varlamov and younger Russian.
Couple of Russians, Sorokin,
yeah, dude. These Russian tandems in this league. That's what you got to do. You got to build a team from.
You got to get a Russian
net, and then it doesn't even matter what you do next.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep, Islanders are going to be definitely a playoff team and in top 10, I'd say, on anyone's list. Who do you have at 7?
I got the Leafs at 7. Who do you have?
Same, dude. Yes, man. 5. That's sick. Why do you like them? I know why you like them, but why do you have them at 7?
They got some of the best offensive talent in the league. I don't think they lack depth at all. I think they brought in good depth. Nick Ritchie, Cache, Kerfoot, Nylander, a lot of good depth.
Biggest
Bunting,
mammal in the world.
yeah, he's the biggest mammal in the world, man. You can't go wrong. And Bunting is unreal. He plays a really good style of hockey, but I think it's all mental with the Leafs. I think they put too much pressure on themselves. It's officially the biggest hockey market in the world. I've seen a post about that, past New York Rangers. So it's a tough. There's a lot of pressure to play there. So I think that it toys with their minds more than if you were a fucking Buffalo Sabres going to the Cup Finals. So
yeah,
it's tough.
In a vacuum, they would have a great team on paper and a sick cup odds. But it's just all in their heads, especially Marner. I think Matthews is pretty good at blocking all that out, but Marner is really, I don't know, just wants everyone's approval. He's a hometown boy. He's got a lot on the line here.
Yeah,
so I think he, I don't know, just thinks the game way too much, and it hurts him in the long run.
Yeah.
But I like their goaltending. I like Mrazek. Too bad he got injured.
Campbell's the guy. Cam, he's the guy.
I thought it was Mrazek this year.
No, man. Campbell's the guy, man. Campbell's been playing unreal. The dude's got a 960 save percentage. He's appeared in 3 games.
That's insane.
He is a guy, in my opinion.
All right, I take it back. Jack Campbell's the guy. Soup. He loves Red Lobster too.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that. You watched that documentary?
No, I just seen a media thing on Instagram.
Oh yeah, he loves Red Lobster. He goes around the room saying, "How about you guys some Red Lobster if we win tonight?"
That's sick too. I heard all the guys love him to pieces too.
Yeah,
it's sad to see Freddie Anderson go because I think he fit in well there. But I like Jack Campbell. Yeah, I like his story. He's awesome.
Great story.
Who do you got number 6? I don't know why I said it like that.
I got the Bruins.
Same, man. I mean, you're just gonna rattle off the same teams right now.
We might, man.
Why do you like them?
Very experienced group, talented lineup, and they could go on a deep run any year. I think they lack a bit of defensive depth to get a cup, but with players like Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak up front, an example of not having a great defensive core and winning a cup was Pittsburgh's cups in 2016-17. They never had an amazing defense core, and they still won. So I think Boston's capable of another cup.
True. I don't, because you look at any single team that's won the cup, they've always had a solid 1-2 punch down the middle, and this year Bruins lost that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with Boston.
I think their goaltending is going to be a bit shaky too. It's Swayman and Allmark.
Yeah,
and but Allmark might do really good this year just because he was playing in front of a shit Buffalo team. Doesn't mean he can't play a good year in Buffalo or Boston.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely a playoff team. Probably not the best in the Atlantic Division, but
no, I don't think so.
I know that we differ here. Who do you have at 5?
Colorado Avalanche.
That low? Nice. I can't talk right now. Why do you take the Avs here?
I think they have some of the best players in the game, and I like their overall group, but I think they lost a bit of depth this offseason. Graves guys gone. Timmins sad. I think they just lost a few pieces there, and they're going to try and replace it from within. And they signed a guy like Jack Johnson, who's not really a good depth piece in my opinion, but they know what they're doing. They lost their goalie. They had to bring in Kemper. We'll see how he plays because he's never had to play on a good team. So we'll see what that's like for him. But they're still a top 5 team in the league, in my opinion. They have Nathan McKinnon, who's the second best player in the world right now, I think. So we'll see how it shakes out. I think they could win a cup. If they won a cup, I wouldn't shock me at all.
No, me neither. Not at all. I have Carolina here, but we'll talk on Colorado for a bit. I think so too. I think the only thing with Kemper, I think he's a world-class goalie. It's just he's injury prone. Like, the guy is made of glass pretty much when the season gets going. I like their forwards though. They've got the best forwards in the game on that top line. And they do have depth. They lost a bit, but they got Newhook there for a speedy third line winger. They still got Donskoy, don't they? Or is he Seattle?
I think he's done. Oh, he's Seattle. Yeah,
I think he's definitely true. Seattle. Never mind, they lost him too.
They lost
Yeah,
him a
so
bit, but they got Barham too. He's been playing well. So
their defense is not a problem. I think Jack Johnson's perfect for the sixth pair. Um, he's a bit slow. He doesn't have his feet that he used to, but uh, he's still good as a sixth, and he's experienced. So
yeah,
I got Carolina here. I got them a bit higher than you do. I love this team. I think their defense is unbelievably good. I think it's unbelievably underrated too. I think their goaltending is going to be weird just because what you said, bringing in two brand new guys between the pipes. I've never seen that before, so
no,
we'll have to
neither.
see. Um, I love their forwards though. They got the best top six forwards. I've said that I think about like 8 different teams tonight, but
Hmm.
their top six forwards are unreal, and they just keep finding these I don't know players in their system that you wouldn't think are good either, and
Yeah,
they turn it on. Who do you have at 4?
I got the Golden Knights at 4.
Nice. I have Colorado. We already talked about
Oh
Colorado.
yeah,
Let's talk about Vegas.
I think they're on the brink of getting it back together to go to the finals. They signed some good players with some good contracts. Their captain Stone and their assistant captain Petrangelo, and I think they just missed number one center. I think if they could add a guy like Jack Eichel, no matter what the cost, I think Jack Eichel's always out there because I mean he's a piece that could really put a team over the top.
Yeah, he
That's the
is.
way I look at him. So I'm kind of upset about the Fleury situation, so I don't really want to see them win one. If I'm gonna be honest with
Yeah,
you.
I know they've kind of got me sour over him too. I don't
Yeah,
like some of the morale decisions or like I don't know. They don't have the best ethics over there in Vegas, but
no,
I don't know. But I mean, an expansion team to win the cup, what 5 years in? I think that would be a record. I don't think any expansion team's done that, so
yeah, they
that'd be
almost won
fun
it
to
a fucking
watch.
year in. So
Yeah, yeah, I know. That would have been a great story too. But I'm happy Ovi got his cup.
yeah, it's nice. I was pumped to see Ovi. I remember just watching that game, and I was really excited to see Ovi win a cup.
Yeah, me
I
too. He
almost I
deserved
almost
one.
fucking crying, man. I loved it, man. You could
Yeah,
tell how much that meant to him, man.
yeah, I know. And I think if he didn't win the cup, we'd be talking he was the best player to ever do it that didn't win a cup.
Yeah, but we don't
He'd be at
have
the
to
top
now.
of that list. Exactly. Thank God, man.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. Um, yeah, I got Colorado. We already talked about Colorado. Who do you got at 3?
yeah. The Jets. We talked a bit about them too, but I'll just go into it quickly.
Jets
Um,
at 3. I didn't see that coming. I
yeah,
forgot you didn't mention those guys yet.
yeah. I think they're a solid group in all areas, and I think they have one of the best goalies in the league. I think they're the best Canadian team right now in terms of being able to win a cup. I think they should try and add at the deadline. Look for a good, really good forward, really good defenseman. Find something that can help make you have a good push in the playoffs. And I'd also like to see Dubois have a bounce back year, and I think he's going to do it. And if he does, this team is looking really, really solid.
Yeah,
Statsny, Dubois, and Shifley in center core.
yeah, for sure. It was tough to see Appleton go. I like to see Appleton
Yeah,
in the Jets jersey, but I mean they got more pieces they can bring in to
yeah.
replace him. But yeah, Jets are a really strong forward team. Not the best defensively. They don't have a lot of depth on the
Like
back.
to see them add there at the deadline.
Yeah, so would I. A big right-handed defenseman or something. But you got to pay those players now. So maybe someone that's deal is ending soon. I
Yeah,
can't think of one off the top of my head, but
no, me either.
I don't know. Get one
So
of
who do
those
you
guys for
have
your
at 3?
team. I have the Florida Panthers. I think Panthers are a wagon this year.
Yeah,
Um, honestly, I don't see any excuses for this team anymore, except for goaltending. I mean, that shouldn't be a problem though, because Bob should be a lot
should.
better. Yeah. Um, but they got
Yeah,
Spencer Knight there to give Bob a break, so they don't have to rely on like Chris Drieger or like Sean Montembeau like they were in the past years. So
yeah,
they got a nice tandem now. Their defense is unreal. Really underrated defenseman is Mackenzie Weegar.
yeah.
Not a
Uyghur's
lot of
good,
guys
man.
talk about him, but he's good. Um,
He's
and just
solid.
incredible forward core. Bringing in Joe now, you got some experience. I hope Joe wins the cup this year.
That
If
would be amazing. I think that if Joe Thornton want to raise the cup, man,
I
that would
swear
be
to
something to
God,
see.
they should bring in Marlowe and Thornton win a cup on the fourth line of the Panthers. That'd be
That would be
crazy.
like the Panthers too, man. The Panthers win a cup and to have those guys in the fourth line.
Yeah,
I'd That would be. We'd have to throw a party if to watch that game.
Yeah, honestly though, we'd have to
We'd
live
travel
stream for
across
like
the
a
province.
13 listeners, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be so sick though, because they went from the West Coast in San
to the
Jose
East
all the way
Coast.
to the East Coast. That would be such a great
Yeah,
story.
that'd be sick. Yeah,
They went coast to coast to win a cup. That'd be a
Yeah.
sick little tagline.
yeah.
Yep. Who do you got at number 2?
I had Florida, so we just
Yeah, we're
talked
pretty
about
close
them.
there.
Yeah,
For sure. Do you have anything to add on them?
They got a really experienced coach who knows how to win, and they have a great prospect pool too. So that's pretty much all I have to add. And who do you have at second?
I have the Vegas Golden Knights. I think they definitely push for that 1 or 2 spot this year. I think this is their year.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they lost Fleury, which is so rough because I don't know. There must have been something poison in that relationship, but I don't know. He was just such a solid goal. He won the Vezina and they got traded for nothing. I
yeah,
can't believe
it's
that.
shitty, man. It's shitty.
But it's just a cap dump, and I think it was the wrong move.
I do
but who
too.
gives a fuck what I think? Probably
Yeah.
nobody, just our 13 listeners and you.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, this is Vegas this year. They definitely need a top line center just to keep that William Karlsson, Martian Show, and Riley Smith line together, and then just move Chandler.
To the wing.
Jesus. No, to
Or
the
down.
third line.
Yeah,
They need a first line center.
they do, man.
Real
Like I
bad.
said, Eichel would push these guys to the cup. I think I would trade.
If
a guy
Eichel
like
was on that
Krebs for
team,
Eichel.
I'd have him at number 1.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Speaking of number 1, who do you got top of the list?
Yeah, I got the Arizona Coyotes number 1.
Yeah, me too, man. Solid pick. Good night.
Yeah,
End of show. roll the fucking
Roll.
credits.
Yeah.
Who do
Tampa Bay
who you
Lightning,
got?
buddy.
Yeah,
Tampa
no
Bay
surprise.
Lightning, man.
Me too.
No surprise.
Tampa Bay Lightning.
2 straight
going for
cups.
the 3-peat.
It's not fair to put them anywhere else, I don't think. I think they lost a lot of depth, losing their full third line, but they brought in a guy like Perry, and they got Maroon there, so they got guys they can move around. Boris Kachuk, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, Kachuk.
Yeah, he seems like he's going to be a decent NHL player. So they got a few pieces to move around, and with guys like Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, you're going to be Hedman, you're Sergachev, McDonough. I mean, the defense core here.
Oh, that's
dangerous.
scary. That is scary.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won 3 cups, and I think in a row, and I think that'll be the first team since the Islanders in the 80s.
Yeah.
So would not shock me if they won 3 cups. I
This
don't really
team-
want to watch it because I'm sick of seeing the same teams win cups every year. So I'd like to see an underdog go for it. But
Yeah.
if they did win it, I think it'd be a tremendous feat for hockey history.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to see it, honestly. And I don't think they lost that much. Like everybody was talking, they lost the third line. I think they have players there that are just as good as what they lost. It's just you're losing the chemistry, and they've rolled. Those guys already had established on that team. You're losing the energy and kind of like the physical play. But I think you still got a great bottom 6 forward core there. Regardless, the biggest loss I think is Yanni Gourde. I don't think people really understand how much he meant to that team.
Yeah, that's a tough loss, man. He was a hard working player for them. So.
Yeah. And I can't believe we haven't even mentioned it yet. The best goalie in the world. Like, it's not even a debate at this point anymore.
No, he's easily the best. He's
the best goalie in the world. And like, you get past that defense and you still got buddies staring at you like this entirely.
Yeah, he's like this.
He's dialed in.
I'd be scared shitless to shoot on him, man.
Me too. Imagine you wake up in the middle of the night and that's staring at you from your closet or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be his wife in bed with him. Just wake up.
No.
Like
Imagine he sleeps with his eyes open too.
Yeah,
They're
probably.
snoring like this.
They're going like this. In bed.
Twitching in his sleep, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good power rankings, man. We had some similar picks, and I think for the most part, we had every team in the same general area.
Yeah, there's a couple flippity floppity teams there that could either miss the playoffs.
Vancouver, we had
Vancouver, New York Rangers, Dallas.
Yeah,
there's
we had
a
a few
few
teams, but for the most part, everything was generally the same area. So
yeah, for sure.
It's good to know that we both think the same way. So
I think so too.
It's a fun night.
All right. Do you have anything else?
Follow Hockey Tank on Instagram and follow Hockey Tank Podcast on YouTube.
Great ending. All right, folks. Still waiting for a guy from Germany and a guy from Virginia to reach out. If you're listening to this, please follow us on our socials. We'd love to converse with you about our hockey thoughts.
Yeah, definitely.
But besides that, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This has been fun. We'll catch you next
See
week.
you next week.
Stay safe.